Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam.
I'm Elias.
And I'm Maddy Grace. That's we're doing now.
I got caught off guard by the fact that Sam just said Sam.
My favorite thing to do is to say it different and weird so that Eli gets tripped up, and so then Maddy has to think of a joke.
If you
I sounded like a fucking robot. I am
Sam,
Elias.
if you really want to be accurate, you should call yourself Podcast Sam, because that's what all of my acquaintances know you by.
Yeah, I'm Podcast Sam.
Podcast Sam.
Because I know like 5 Sams, so you're Podcast Sam.
Yeah, I'm not voice actor Sam. God no.
Exactly.
Wish I would be.
Thank goodness. Here's the thing: if voice actor Sam was here, compared to you, the podcast would sound a lot better, but be a lot worse.
Yeah, that tracks. But today we will be talking about our second chunk of Brave Story New Traveler, covering chapters 3 and 4, in which things actually happen this time. And before we get to all of that, how is everybody's week?
Stimulus checks came in.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Yay.
You got your fucking stimmy. I got mine too. Sam, did you get your stimmy?
I got my stimmy and my tax refund will get to me.
Oh,
hell yeah.
So I went on a little bit of a shopping spree, and I bought myself a new mouse because the old one has just, like, the scroll wheel was fucking up for the longest time, and one of my buttons on the side was starting to not work anymore, and so I now have a nice new wireless mouse that works much better, and I'm very happy with it.
Hell yeah.
And I ordered a tower fan that should arrive tomorrow.
Hell
because
yeah.
my office is always 1,000,000 degrees.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. And Ken and I decided to invest in a soda carbonating machine.
Nice.
Oh yeah, one of those thingies.
Because I drink a lot of fizzy water, and if I could just carbonate my own water here at home, that would save me so much money.
Oh yeah. They get you in the syrups. Like if you were going to make they don't sell the Coke Zero one anymore, which is annoying. But so back in the day, the Coke Zero one cost, I think it was like $6, and it made like 4 liters. And they're like, wow, that's really good. But you only got through like 3 bottles when you had to redo the carbon dioxide, and that cost $15. And so it's like, oh, so you got it started to be not as great as just getting the HEB brand soda. Now that I'm up here and I don't have access to HEB brand soda, it probably would be better.
Yeah.
But at the time, it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna get this cheap ass HEB soda. I miss HEB so much, man.
Yeah, the soda machine that I've ordered will it's not. I mean, it's a carbonating machine,
Mm-hmm.
but some of them will only do water. This one apparently you can do pretty much anything.
Nice.
So I'm really excited about that. So because of the snowpocalypse, Ken and I couldn't go on our Valentine's date.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to go see the birdcage at the Alamo. Instead, we rescheduled because Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me was playing last weekend.
Oh, hell yeah. That is a theater experience, let me tell you what.
Yeah, it really fucking is.
That movie's so intense.
Great. So we got... we splurged on dinner and drinks, and I got real drunk and sobbed my eyes out at the end. Just had a real fucking good time. The pre-show was fantastic as expected. They showed the Sesame Street Twin Peaks parody, which is great. If you haven't seen that, Maddy, you have to watch it.
I haven't. Oh my goodness.
Look up Twin Beaks after the podcast or at some point, or I'll send it to you. But it's fucking hilarious.
That's great.
Yeah. It was a real good time.
So I just thought of something that this seems like it would make good podcast. I know I promised Maddy we'd get out quickly, so I apologize for this tangent. But
Yeah, it's fine.
I have no idea what Twin Peaks is. Do you want me to tell you what the plot of Twin Peaks is? And this is
Oh my god!
Sure.
Can we do that as a bonus episode sometime or something?
maybe so. Maybe not tonight because Maddie's busy. But I like so many things where people are like, "Oh, you must like Twin Peaks, right? Because this is just like Twin Peaks." So I think I have enough just like Twin Peaks
to figure out Twin Peaks.
Figure it out and let you know what everything is about.
Here's the what's it called? Here's the cheat sheet for knowing what to think when someone tells you that something else is, quote, just like Twin Peaks. No, it's not.
I got that because the things that they say that to, I'm like, what? Because if like the transitive property is if I like Gravity Falls and people are like Gravity Falls is just like Twin Peaks, and then I like Infinity Train and they say that's just like Twin Peaks. Those shows, besides being cartoons, really aren't alike that much. So it's like, okay.
When someone says something is like Twin Peaks or like Lynch, all they just mean is like
it's weird. It's
a little weird. It's maybe got a mystery in it, and I've only seen 2 movies in my entire life.
Yeah.
Because if the only thing you've ever seen that is even remotely off, like out of the mainstream or a little weird is David Lynch, then anything else that's weird, you're going to be like, wow, it's so Lynchian. But it's like, it's not. It's like, I don't know. That'd be like if you've only ever heard one pop punk band. You know, the only pop punk band you've ever heard is Blink-182. And you're like, wow, this is just like Blink-182. It's like, it's really not. It's really not, man.
The bane of my entire existence, I swear.
Yeah, I was giving a Sam appropriate analogy.
Yeah, the big one was back in the days of Napster. I would download so many things that were by Green Day, Weird Al, or The Pillows that were actually by Forever the Sickest Kids. Oh
my god!
But Adam Sandler and Asian Kung Fu Generation, because it's all the same thing. Because we have no taste and can't tell the difference between anything. And
when someone says that a band is like Blink-182, you should be like, no, the Red Heroes are like Blink-182.
Yes. That does remind me, just as one more tangent before we get to everyone else's week. So when California came out for the Blink-182 album, so many people were like, oh, wow, I can't believe they just ripped off, I think it's an Offspring song or something. They're like, they just completely ripped it off. It's so unoriginal. And my response was, if them taking one phrase for one part of the verse is ripping off and not an homage, then I need to go to jail for the Red Heroes album because
your entire career, yeah.
But
it really is.
But yeah, Maddie, how was your week?
My week has been very, very eventful. So today's Thursday, and it's been a week and a half since last time we recorded an episode. Last Saturday, I've been talking about this for ages. My girlfriend finally arrived. Kali is here in California in this very room. Kali, say
woo!
Hi.
That's them. They just said hi. They are playing Fire Emblem 3 Houses. And anyway, yeah, they moved in and it was amazing. It's been great. They moved in with a truck full of stuff, and we spent the last 5 days figuring out how to fit a whole bunch of stuff into one small home. And it's been awesome, honestly. Like, we're finally getting it somewhat livable. We went to IKEA and had an extremely good time at IKEA.
Love IKEA.
Yo, IKEA hits different when you have money.
Right?
Last time I went to IKEA, it was like, all right, my parents gave us $100. What do we really, really need? It was like, oh shit, this bookshelf is $40. Hell
you can get one unpronounceable bookshelf.
Yeah, but now it's like, I am in a good financial situation. You're in a good financial situation, and we got stimmies on the way. Fuck it, we're spending $300 on a goddamn dresser because we need an enormous dresser because we have too many clothes.
Did you get the hymnus? The hymnus is my favorite.
We did get the hymnus.
I fucking love the hymnus, man.
It's so good. It's enormous. We stripped 2 of the screws while trying to put the drawer in, so we had to go back and get the screws today.
Yeah. Fuck those drawers.
The hymnus here. Look, there it is. That's the hymnus. That's good. It's a good one. It's a good fucking word. It's a good dresser.
Love it.
But anyway, we're gonna get some more stuff. There's one other thing we critically, deeply desire that they were all sold out of. So we're gonna have to drive up to another store that's up north to go get it. We're gonna have a little trip, because it's not available online either. But anyway, the point is, it's been great. It's been very busy. I'm very, very exhausted. That's why we delayed the recording this time around. But it rules. That's the only thing I've done all week, and like it actually has been extremely complicated, and I could go on and on and on, but as far as like bullet points, it's like I did one thing.
Nice.
So yeah. Oh, also one more fun little story from the move. We have 3 big old HD TVs now because I already had one and they had 2, and we weren't really sure which one we wanted to use. The operating principle for this whole move has been just move all of our stuff in, and after we're all moved in, then we'll decide what stuff we want and don't want. Because it's too hard to figure that out before moving, even though that would be like functionally easier.
Yeah.
So we have 3 TVs right now, and they couldn't figure out what to do. Like, what do we do with these fucking TVs? We get so much space, and I was like, I've got an idea. So the big ass entertainment center that we're putting the TVs on is really deep. So the TVs are all in front of each other. So the big TV's in the front, and behind it are just like hiding 2 smaller TVs, smaller but still very large. So it's really fun.
So you're saying the big TV is the tank, and you have the healer and the DPS in the back.
If you want to use that awful analogy, then sure. Oh yeah, okay. I guess I also finally beat A Realm Reborn. Oh wait, we already bitched about that last time we recorded.
Yeah,
I already bitched about that. Although I have now been to a fucking Final Fantasy wedding, which is fun.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
It's so cool. What a fun little event that is. It was what I was so impressed by is that even though this is a fantasy world and the whole idea is that it's escapism and it's better than real life and you get to have fun and be a hero, they somehow managed to import all the social anxiety and awkwardness from a real wedding into a fake wedding. They weren't like, let's make up a fantasy version of a wedding where it's just the beauty and the fun and the good times and none of the social awkwardness. They're like, no, we're doing the social awkwardness. So I was like, oh god, I'm so underdressed. Fuck, where do I sit? Oh god, I don't know any of these people. What am I supposed to do? Do I go mingle? Do I mingle? Is that what I do? And I was like, this is literally, I'm like getting anxiety just like a real wedding, which is like objectively, I guess it's not good or bad. It's just hilarious. But yeah. Anyway, that's my life. All right, Sam. Tell us your tale that I can tell you're raring to tell.
Yeah. So this Wednesday, I got a paycheck from my new job, which owns. And
that's right. I
got my stimmy, which also owns, and I got a week ahead of the time I was expecting it, my tax return. So I woke up on Wednesday with $12,000 in my bank account.
Woo!
That's right.
And I have not had $12,000 in my bank account since my grandmother died and I got my inheritance. So
I've never had that kind of money. Jesus Christ.
Me either.
Yeah. It was insane. So the first thing I did before I even rolled out of bed is I paid off all of my credit cards and then
beautiful
paid 2 months ahead on my car payment.
That's a good feeling.
And then I had $9,000 left. So
oh my god,
I bought Summer a brand new MacBook Pro 16. Like when we were before the stimmies passed, we were like calculating and we were like, okay, we can probably get her like a MacBook Air or something because her Mac can't update past High Sierra. It's real old. And
I hate that shit. Yeah.
And so I were like, we'll get you a MacBook Air, and it's really small, but like I have my dock from work, so like you can just dock into it, use it as a desktop when you need to. And we weren't super excited about it. Then we got the the stimmies on top of it. So I spent $2,500 on a brand new Mac for her, and she's loving it. So I then turned around and, excuse me, bought myself a new gaming PC. Except, well, I should back up a little more than this. So, the last time stimmies came in at the beginning of the month, beginning of March, and I paid all the month's bills ahead of time, and was like, now any like paychecks or whatever we can do. I just want to not have to worry about bills the whole month, and so I got a paycheck the day before my birthday, and then the afternoon, the day before my birthday, the local Target had PS5s. So I was able to get a PS5 with like 2 to 3 days of like sitting and watching and hoping type thing. And that was super awesome. But now that I bought the gaming PC, graphics cards are harder to find than PS5s. So I'm back to the waiting for someone to tweet that they have it somewhere and standing in virtual queues and all that garbage to try and get a graphics card. But I then also got a whole new wardrobe for the kids, and I bought all of the anime and anime adjacent shirts that they had at Walmart. And
of course you did.
It was just a grand old shopping spree of a time, and I have $1,000 left that I literally don't even know what to spend it on, and that is something that has never happened in my entire life, to have money that's not earmarked for anything.
Yeah,
it's good. Thank you, the people who sent me money and stimulated the hell out of this economy.
Yeah.
Keep
thanks.
Doing it.
Thanks, Joe. You still owe me $600, but thanks anyway.
Yeah.
The other guy gave me $1,800. So there's that.
Yeah. Just keep at it, Joe. Keep them coming, and I will be sitting pretty. The other thing that has happened is my job is great, and I took on an extra responsibility this week, and it sucks. Because basically what we're doing, without getting too complicated, is we have too many computers that are using one remote software, and we have a bunch of extra license of that are using the other. So we have to switch these computers from one remote software to the other. But the one we're moving them to sucks. It's okay because these computers aren't important, so it's fine that they have the sucky one. But fighting with the sucky one for so long to try and get him to switch over has been like the last 3 days of work, and it's just been garbage and stressful. But because I don't talk on the phone, I've been watching Naruto the whole time, and I'm almost done with the original series. And it's good if you watch the fan edit that cuts out all the garbage. Even Summer, who was watching it straight, she got to the garbage at the last half of the first series, and she just said nope and skipped to the next one. Because so like Dragon Ball Z, they stretch out their garbage by like, oh, we need to open this door. Well, here's 6 episodes to open a door. Naruto is like, no, we have to get through this plot, and we're going to do it in 12 episodes, and it's going to be fine. Then we're going to invent literally 143 consecutive episodes of filler Monster of the Week comedy garbage just happening at the end of the second half of the first thing.
Many.
It's way too many. I can't believe they went for like, it's like 3 seasons. They went like 3 years of just making up bullshit. But the non,
I mean, to be fair, I've been making up bullshit for 29 years.
True. But it's just so weird because Naruto is very serialized. So when you get to the filler and it's all Monster of the Week and most of them are funny, it's like, who what the fuck show is this? It doesn't fit at all, and it's wild. But I've been watching the fan edit, and the fan edit is spectacular, and highly recommend. Because I do believe it was on this podcast where we said like 4 years ago that everyone who loves Naruto will tell you Naruto is awesome and it's an amazing work of art, and you should never ever watch it. And and most of it is because even the things that aren't like like just filler episodes. Like if somebody new walks on the scene and is like, all right, who's the bad guy? And they're like, okay, well, episode by episode, let me catch you up. And they like recap for half the episode sometimes. And it's a chore to get to the good part. But so, it's called Naruto Kai. The one that's actually called Naruto Kai is the better one. It's sub only, so you should check it out. It's easy to search for it. The one that has the dub is called Naruto Cut to Manga and is not as well made of a thing, but I have kids, so I'll take slightly crappy over being able to watch it. But yeah, that's me. Let's talk about this game, guys.
Let's wait. What music are we gonna do here?
I have no idea. I'm gonna pick one that sounds good because
the boss battle appears for the first time this week. It's great.
Yeah, if I can find it. The problem is the OST is labeled BGM 1, BGM 2, all the way to BGM 300. So
oh god,
finding specific songs last week was real hard. So I will pick things that sound like a boss battle. I might be wrong. Don't at me.
Look, if the song is good, then just put it in there.
Hell yeah.
That's it.
All right, so Maddy, what's going on?
Yeah, so when we last left our heroes, we had basically learned that we're a little isekai boy. Our heroes wow, I just realized I almost exclusively use the royal we every time I use my character's name in my notes. That's so strange. Anyway, when we last left our heroes, there was the main character who I named Tai, and then our who goes into an alternate world in order to rescue in order to save his friend, who I do believe it's clear that it's a friend now, whose name is Mimi, and she is in the hospital with
her name's Miki.
Mimi and Mike.
Mimi is yours. That's
right. She has fictional character disease.
Yeah.
Where no one knows what's wrong. She just
soap opera disease.
She just gets more and more beautiful until eventually she dies. So she's got soap opera disease, and we're going in the other world to save the day. We got to collect 5 doohickeys. What are those doohickeys? Well, the guy was very vague about what they are or how we get them, and we'll find out a little bit more about that today. And when we got to our other world, someone had joined our party named just played the game literally today. Someone named and that she's our favorite character because she's just like she's just Misty. She's just a Terra Strong character, but like she's great. She's really good. And then also we went some adventures, and then afterwards she was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go on an adventure with you because I don't know, it sounds like a fun thing to do. This is a fantasy world. What else do I got going on? I don't have to go to college. I'll go on an adventure with an adventure. It sounds great." So we travel the world map to a river crossing and a kindly man. So now we're on chapter 3, which is called A Gentle Heart and the Mirror of Truth. Spoiler warning. That chapter title is a lie. You'll find out why later.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we travel the map to a river crossing, and a kindly man ferries us across for a small fee. While we're crossing, he asks us where we're going, and when he hears of our travels in our dreams, he says, "Oh, man, I got a gift for you. You're so special. I don't normally give people this gift, but because I like you so much, I'm definitely going to give you this gift. Also, you're really smart for your age." No, it's not at all creepy. I just made that up. So when we arrive at the other bank, he gives us a net and a bird cage, because turns out this game has an extremely elaborate bird catching mini game, which rules. Then they proceed to teach us how to do bird catching for about 30 minutes.
They go in hard on this mini game.
Why did
Yeah,
you go
really.
all in on bird catching?
I am never gonna do it.
Yeah, I probably am because I'm the way I am. So while we're talking to this guy, whose name is Vortus, his friend Bin appears and he says, "Oh, I've returned from Nacht, where the people, quote, took well my advice." I don't know what advice he was giving them, but, he was spreading the word of bird catching or something. He's another member of Snob, which, if you recall, is the social network of bird lovers. That's right, it wasn't just a dumb joke that Sam put in his memorable moments last week. It is, in fact, a thing. So anyway, he teaches us how to catch birds, which is very silly. And then he teaches us how to fight them in giant real-time 5-on-5 bird brawls, which is also silly. It's this whole friggin' thing. You definitely get the idea that Vortus gives a net and birdcage to literally every single person who crosses his river because he's spreading the good word of bird catching and trying to get everybody into it. Maybe because he's just a huge fan of it, or maybe because it's like, for business reasons, trying to drum up the birdcage industry, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to make it a thing. Well, he's succeeding. Anyway, he so if you recall, we're journeying to Lyris, which is like an artistic city where all kinds of things happen, because that's where adventurers would probably go. He says, hey, instead of going directly to Lyris, you should stop by Sakawa to the north. Did anybody not go to Sakawa first?
I went straight there.
I did too.
Okay, so the way he says it makes it seem like it's optional, right? Like, hey, you should head there if you want to. So I'm not sure. I also did. I'm not sure what happens if you don't go to Sakawa first, if you just go to Lyris, right? Because some of the stuff later references like, oh, it's that guy we met in Sakawa. So it's interesting. I'm curious as to how the routing of this game goes, how the script goes if you don't go to Sakawa.
I feel there was an NPC that felt like they were going to send us to Sakawa if we hadn't been there yet. Like, I felt like there was something when I was like NPC exploring.
Well, that does happen, but... Well, anyway, the point is, I'm just curious, but it turns out we all did the same thing. So we all go to Sakawa, and the reason, by the way, is that they're like, oh, Sakawa's got great food. You can get great food, great bed, just have a great time in Sakawa. So we go there. Upon entering Sakawa, which has fantastic music, fun fact, turns out this game so far has bespoke music for every town. Sakawa is my favorite so far. It's great. Upon entering Sakawa, some shenanigans happens. A huge carriage almost totally owns us, but we jump out of the way. Nearly offs the guy with an arrow in retaliation, but Tai tells her to cool it. We go to the inn, and more shenanigans. There's this kid barreling around, and he eventually barrels out the door. He's a lizard dude. He barrels like into us. He's like running around causing ruckus, and then like knocks into us and bursts out the door. Threatens to kick his ass again, but she cools it. Her dad shows up. He's this really big lizard man, and apparently the boy is, quote, still in training, and his dad, quote, works him hard every day. Hence him running out the door being like, you're not my real dad, I hate you, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We're not sure what that means. We don't know what he's training for or whatever. Maybe we'll find out later. So the innkeeper says, hey, here's your fish. Oh yeah, we came here to get fish. So he says, here's your fish. We eat the fish, and it's mega delicious. And is like, hell yeah, that was super good. And I'm like, fuck, I could use some fish. Nothing else happens in this town. We can shop and shit. It's really beautiful town. There's some good NPC dialogue. I don't think I wrote any of it. I don't think I felt like writing any of it down, but it's a really nice little place. I really enjoyed it.
Most of the NPC dialogue in this game so far has been like, wow, that's really pleasant. And if this wasn't the fifth really pleasant thing that I had read, I probably would have wrote this down as a memorable moment.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, we get to Lyris, and a townsperson tells us, actually, I'll go in order of my notes, and then I'll go off script in a second. Okay. So a townsperson tells us that a Highlander, which if you recall, last week we weren't really sure what Highlanders were. They sounded like a mixture of knights and what's the word?
Mercenaries?
Militia. Mm-hmm. Knights, militia, mercenaries, protectors, but also kind of like mafia, typical RPG thing. A church shows up, and you're like, all right, is this like a church or like a church, right? Like a JRPG style church? This is the same thing. We're like, are they up to something? So a townsperson tells us that a Highlander hailing from Vahadina is about to make an announcement. So we head to the town square, and two Highlanders appear. One of them is a guy who just looks kind of like a military officer, but the other one is a main character. If you listen to this podcast enough, you know that you can tell when someone's a main character because you can tell that someone put a lot of effort into their design.
Yeah.
This is a super, super hot lady. Her name is Chief Melody, spelled Meladee, because this game is silly sometimes, of the Vahadina branch. She's here to make an urgent announcement. She's here to recruit new Highlanders. As we found out before, remember, we found out last week, some places recruit new Highlanders. So Vahadina has been seeing more and more monsters, and they don't even have enough troops to fight them, much less explore, quote, the ruins. So she says that there's no restrictions on gender, which is nice, or age, which is sus. But they do accept but they only accept 3-person teams. I think the idea is like, look, we don't want to hire someone and they just go fucking die. So you got to be a 3-person team, and you got to be able to work together and be reliable. If you might, those in the audience might recognize that we are in fact currently a 2-person team, and the UI suggests that the maximum party size in this game is 3. So there's that. So a second later, we Yuna goes up and is like, Kite is the soldier guy. We're gonna join. And he's like, so we ask him why it's got to be 3 people, and he kind of explains what I just said, and then he's like, yeah, so you only have 2, so shove off. Also, children have no place with us. Get out of here, kids. And I'm like, y'all just said it was open to people of all ages. Like, you just said it. I thought that was a weird little contradiction that didn't make sense at the time, but actually they kind of make sense of it later. So Yuno decides that we need a 3rd man, and whammo, we immediately run into someone randomly. Townsperson Uteta, I think it's actually one of those T's is an L, but I must have wrote it wrong. Townsperson Uteta tells us that there's big trouble. A kid from Sakawa has gone missing. Turns out it was the kid who was being annoying earlier. And so he's looking for Highlanders to go, save the day. But despite not being Highlanders, we rush back to Sakawa. So this is actually pretty normal stuff. Like, the kid ran off to a cave, and his dad, the one we talked to earlier, is this guy named Sogrith. And the dad ran in to save him like a dumbass instead of waiting for help. Because they were like, oh, we're going to go call for help so we can really go get the kid and be safe. And the dad's like, no, I'm going to go and save my boy. So Tai, Yuno, and Kima, who's just their friend, who joins our party as a guest, we all run off to save them both. So we go through a dungeon.
And the thing that sucks about Kikima joining us as just a guest is his joint attack with Tai is a attack all spell, and it's our first attack all spell, and it hits real hard, and it's like super awesome. And he is also a waterkin, just like Sogrith, who joins our party in a second. And I was like, oh, is this going to be a Lavitz and Albert situation? Nope. So
yeah, Kikima is extremely good, and it's a fucking shame that he's only a guest. Although it's probably like, the game's, as Eli mentioned last week, the game is still very much in tutorial mode. I'm not sure if the game's actually in tutorial mode or if the game is just for 9-year-olds. And therefore there isn't a tutorial mode. It's just the game is just like this. But yeah, it's like, oh, we're gonna introduce you to having 3 party members and having triple techs, but we're gonna have this really powerful character to help you out. Sort of kid gloves. Yeah, so the game starts adding more and more techs. By the way. You do end up getting a triple tech. It's funny, you get a triple tech that uses all 3 characters and does massive damage to one enemy. But there's really no point to using it because the dual tech between Tai and Kikima hits the whole enemy party and often will kill all of them outright.
Yeah.
So which is actually bad because if you're me, you're trying to steal from all of them because this game's got a fucking crafting system, and of course I'm going to steal from all of them and get all the stuff to craft the stuff. I can't just kill them. Anyway, whatever. So yeah, so this game keeps doing this thing, and it will continue doing it, where you get to a dungeon and you're like, oh, now this is the real ass dungeon. Here's a real dungeon this time. The game's like, nah, it's like 2 screens. This dungeon is a little bit of a real dungeon, but not much. So we get to it, and we get to the bottom, and we see the kiddo. Also this dungeon's got gorgeous graphics. It's got all these parts where it's like there's a path that looks like you can go on it, but there's like the water. There's like it's like the path is kind of collapsed and the water's too deep and you can't go that way. It's cool. It's really pretty. Lots of good transparencies. So anyway, we see the kiddo. Rushes out in front of us to save him, but gets owned immediately, which is convenient because now Sogrith can join the party. Sogrith joins the party, so he, Tai, and Kikima do a boss. The boss is really easy, but the boss music is amazing. The boss is a giant enemy crab. It does the Final Fantasy thing.
Crab in game.
I guess it is the first boss. Yeah, crab in game, exactly. Sound the klaxon. He does the crab thing where he'll like shell up in his shell looks like it's made of like earth. Which is interesting. But yeah, he'll go into defensive mode, but like you can still hit him and like you just hit him. It's whatever. After you beat him, turns out Minos, who I forgot to say that name earlier, but that's the name of the kid that we're trying to rescue. Turns out Minos is fine. He starts to thank us, and he's also a little lizard buddy. He's really cute. He's like, "Thanks for saving me." But then his stomach starts all glowing, and he's like, "Is it supposed to do that?" And then a glowy light comes out, and it starts talking. And the light says that it is, quote, one pillar of the goddess's power. And damn, she gives us one of the gems. So we got one of our 5 gems. That was easy. I still don't know if the gem is like a physical thing. I think it's like an infinity stone, but instead of you like getting it and then putting it like in your sword, it's more like the light just says some stuff and then your sword has it.
Yeah.
I don't know. So now we have the gem. And now we can use Bravura skills. So yeah, Tai can now cast spells. His only spell is just a damaging spell, but it's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Sogrith is like, "Yo, you're a traveler? That's cool as fuck." And then it's like, dude, we're in the bottom of the dungeon. Maybe we should talk about it later. On the way out, the tide comes in or something, and it fills up some areas with water, so we're trapped. But then Tai uses his newfound sword magics to blast a hole in the wall. And then, going a new path, we see a portal and like a glowy light magic portal thingy. And Wayfinder Lao says, "Oh yeah, that'll take you back to the real world." Just like we told you about last time. But remember, when the clock strikes or something, you gotta get back. Otherwise, you'll be cast into the Veil of Eternity forever. Yikes. So we go through that thinking, all right, we're going to go to Earth. We're going to come back. We're not going to go to the Veil of Eternity because that's too long. Also, Veil it's not Veil, which I think would be a good way to do it, like nice and dramatic, right? But it'd be Vale, which is also fine. A veil is a kind of place, but either of those would have been cool dramatic writing, so I just wanted to clarify which one it was. So we travel back to Earth, so, which is like I told you last time, I was really looking forward to this. Like, what a cool little structural thing, right? What kind of exploration are we going to do? What kind of important, emotional, powerful scenes are we going to see in our brief time back on Earth before we have to return to our adventure? All that happened is you're in a hospital room with Mimi, and she's asleep, but she kind of mutters like, "Tai, help me." And then a female voice implores us to please save her. And then the bells ring and we go back. That's it. It takes like 30 seconds. Kind of disappointing. I'm really looking forward to this part. Maybe the ones that happen later are better.
I feel we have Chekhov's time limit here because it wasn't even like a big deal. And as we see in a second, we meet another traveler. So I'm sure that he's going to like fight us IRL or something. And the bells are going to start to ring and it's going to be a big dramatic thing because it wasn't even like gameplay for us to need a time limit there. So I'm sure
it's just totally a part of the cutscene.
If they I'm still hoping they do something interesting with it because again, like, hey, that's I'm a sucker for structure and formal stuff. So saying to yourself like, hey, the entirety of this lengthy work of art is going to be broken up by 5 specific moments when you get to go do something very different. I'm like, okay, those 5 specific moments are going to be like the shit, you know?
Mhm.
Like that's going to be the time when you really shake things up, have emotional impact, have weird twists, things get weird. And yeah, that didn't happen yet, but hopefully they do better later. So anyway, aside from that, I was going to talk about that later, but I guess we're talking about it now. So anyway, we get back to Sakawa, and everyone like thanks us and stuff, and then we share our story, and we stay the night, and in the morning we talk to the Elder. Okay, so the Elder. Were y'all able to parse the polygons here? Because the cutscene doesn't really give us a good look, and he looks very bizarre, but I couldn't quite tell what was going on with him because of the camera, the faraway camera.
He looks like one of those lizard guys who's just in like a big robe and sitting down. Like the robe is so big that when he sits, it just creates kind of a puddle of robe around him.
That's kind of what I thought was happening. It looks very cool.
Yeah, I got little of that mixed with like the Elder Namek sort of just like big floofy type lizard man.
Anyway, the Elder's cool as fuck. It's not that important really. Basically, like we find out that Minos, the reason why Minos went to the cave at all was because the Elder has health problems and Minos was getting a medicinal plant. So hey, wow, Minos has such a gentle heart. Anyway, yeah, he has a gentle heart. He thanks Minos for his kindness, even though he's a dumbass who got people killed. The Elder also says that Tai is different from the travelers who have come before somehow, which is really neat. Then Sogrith asks the Elder to look after Minos while he's gone, because guess what? He's joining the party.
Hell yeah.
Finally, the Elder tells us to trust in our friends. You know, the power of friendship, all that stuff. Also, he's like, oh, by the way, here's a quest log. Because, again, this game is, like, the most level 5 game ever made not by level 5, and will not stop giving us new systems to work with. So, yeah, now we have a quest log, so NPCs can give us side quests. That didn't happen to me this playthrough, but I'm guessing it can at some point. Maybe I should have gone back and talked to NPCs after getting the quest log, because I had already explored every town all the way at this point, is the thing. So yeah. Cool. So we go back to Lyris, and, so that's the end of Chapter 3, which, again, to remind you all, was called A Gentle Heart and the Mirror of Truth.
The Mirror of Truth is the key item that you use to go back to the real world. It's not the plot mirror that happens in a second.
Okay, so the game was not just lying. Yeah, here's the thing. A mirror is going to show up in Chapter 4, and I was like, what? I'm in Chapter... Did I think I was never about to... Actually, I was still in Chapter 3? What? I actually looked up just to be sure. But then I thought, wait a second, but that's not the Mirror of Truth. It's just a mirror. In fact, Mirror of Truth sounds like really good, and that was like an evil mirror. So maybe that's a different mirror? Where the fuck is the Mirror of Truth? But you're right, Sam. The Mirror of Truth was in fact the item that we used to go back to the past. No one, or not to the past, to the real world. No one mentioned it. No one called it that, but it was called that earlier. It was called that in a big plot dump full of lots of weird lore that we didn't understand. Yes. So that's why we all forgot. Thank you, Sam, for clarifying that. I was so confused by the game.
I only remember that because when we had to do the Piranha side quest, I was trying to find where the thingies were, and I looked at my key items and I saw the Mirror of Truth. I'm like, what the fuck is a Mirror of Truth? And I looked at it and its flavor text says it's the portal between worlds.
Nice. So now we're in Chapter 4. Again, very literally titled Triankha Hospital. I just want to make a quick little side note here. The hospital is called Triankha, and if you recall, the Ankha, A-N-K-H-A, are like basically the normal human-looking race in this game. They're not like beast people of some kind. So Triankha. I don't know what that means, but it's cool. This game actually does a lot of stuff with like... It has a lot of phonemic and linguistic consistency in all of its like place names and stuff, so it really convincingly makes everything feel like a fantasy world. It's like, yeah, there are certain linguistic patterns, you know, and etymologic patterns that reappear in this game, in these made up words that we did. So like, that's a pretty easy thing to do in fantasy, but you'd be surprised how often it doesn't happen. So yeah, anyway, So we go back to Lyris, and we talk to the Highlander guy, and he reluctantly accepts our application for the audition, because we have 3 guys now. At this point, he does kind of clarify. He's like, yeah, we do technically allow people of any age, I guess, on paper, but like kids aren't good at fighting, they're annoying, we don't want to deal with them. Also, maybe I have a moral objection to it. But we're like, dude, it says people of any age. And he's like, okay, fine.
And it's not like we're kids. We're JRPG kids. That means we're like 35.
And
Functionally
we're very
35.
capable.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, you're
anyway,
a JRPG old guy, so you are 21.
So he gives us the first part of our trial, which is we gotta go collect 3 doohickeys from the Seaside Cave. Seaside Cave, for the record, is the cave we already went to. It's the same one as last chapter. Mm-hmm. We gotta go get 3 doohickeys from Seaside Cave, but we can only get the doohickeys when the animal is enraged. So we learn about yet another new mechanic called enraged. It's actually not enraged. I forget what's the actual word.
It's crazed.
Crazed.
Whatever. They get mad. So basically, sometimes a monster gets mad and it increases in size and strength, and even might have new moves and has a different loot table. I don't know how to trigger it. I thought maybe I hit it a bunch or something, or kill its friends. I think it's just RNG. Yeah. And I think okay, here's my quick assessment of it. In my experience, a monster either got mad very quickly without me having to really do anything, like after like 1 or 2 turns, mm-hmm. or it never did. Yeah. So, because I would have things where it's like, okay, I killed the other enemies. Now I'm just going to hit defend until it gets mad, and it didn't. So I think it's not like RNG per turn. I think it might be like RNG per enemy or per battle. So like the enemy either is going to get mad or it isn't. So if you're playing this game along with us and it seems like the enemy is not getting mad, just kill it and fight the next one. Yeah. I could be wrong, but that was my experience.
It happened quick enough the times where it happened, where I just normal grinded until I got 3 of them. I didn't have to do anything special to get the things.
Exactly. In between my second and third one, I had to go through quite a bit of battles just because bad luck or something. But yeah, so we gotta hunt a specific monster. It gets mad, we kill it. It's still not difficult at all, and we get the 3 thingies. So we do that. We go back and we're like, hey, we did it. Time for part 2 of our trial. But then someone named Father Diamond bursts in, and he's like, there's a crisis at Triankha Hospital. Hey, there's the name of the chapter. A monster of some sort has made it his home and also killed a bunch of people. Kite says, well, dude, we can't do the second part of your exam until we resolve this subplot. Sorry. Please, we're gonna go to the okay, everybody, we're gonna go to the place to the northwest. Hey, kids, don't follow us. Anyway, hey, everyone, let's go to the northwest, to the hospital to the northwest, and go do the thing. So they leave. As soon as everyone's gone, Sawgriff is like, all right, let's fucking go. Let's go to the fucking hospital. He's cool. He can tell that Yuno is just dying to get in on this action. So when he says it, I think Yuno might be a little bit of a goody two-shoes, because Yuno's like, wait, we're going? And Sawgriff's like, you want to go, don't you? She's like, well, yeah. And he's like, okay, then let's go. So we're going to show the Highlanders up, and we're going to beat them at their own game, basically. It's cute. I want to say they make it seem like some currently being used hospital, just like a monster decided to go chill in it. That's not the case. This is like an old, decrepit, overgrown hospital full of plants,
it's real yucky
and stuff. So it's not like a place where people has a monster in it. It's like a giant monster now has a house over here, and that you just can't have a giant monster chilling in a house nearby. That's just not safe, right? So it's a health hazard, it's the building's condemned, right? So we travel to the aforementioned hospital. It looks extremely like a horror game location. Really great textures. Mm-hmm. Most of the rattiness is coming from just textures on the walls and floor, where it's just vines. It's just gross looking. It's great. We fight our way through the hospital, and we overhear an old woman and a young man arguing. Oh, sorry. I said that a little bit weird. We fight our way through the hospital, which is an entire dungeon. And then at the end and nothing happens. And at the end of the dungeon, basically, we go into a cutscene. And in this cutscene, we overhear an old woman and a young man arguing. In this cutscene, the young man is telling the old woman that like he changed his mind or something and like isn't going to take orders anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then the camera, using it, 3D cinematography camera because it can do that. We never ever see who he's talking to. We do not see the old woman a single time, but we do get plenty of shots of the young man. And as Sam said in the chat, oh no, he's hot.
Oh no.
He's very bishy. He's a very hot young buck. He has a cool mask.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got this weird emo mask vibe going on. He's pretty cool. So yeah, he's like, I'm not going to take orders from you anymore, and I'm going to go it alone. Then she says, don't you care about seeing your wish granted? But then the man says something like, I know all about you. He says that she'd better give up on him and fall back on somebody else. And then he's like, you probably already have someone picked already as a backup. And she's like, how did you know? And he's like, well, now I do know because you just confirmed it. That old trick where you just say shit and then you gauge the reaction to see if you're right or not. Works a lot better in movies than it does in real life, just saying.
Yeah.
So he tells her to burn in hell, and he doesn't actually say that. Then he shoots a fireball, but like it misfires and goes off directly towards our party. So like he wants to shoot her with a fireball, and then it's just like, oops, I accidentally shot it into that hallway, and then some girl went, youch! That's weird. So then he comes over to see what's going on. At that point, the lady never shows up again. It's kind of weird. Like, they're having an argument, and then he owns someone else, and then she's gone. Maybe it was a voice. Maybe it wasn't a real person.
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't know. We never see the lady again.
Because
we
have
never
our
see the lady
own,
at all.
Yeah, we have our own disembodied voice that talks to us. So maybe
That's a good point. That's a good point. Shit, I didn't even think about that. Sam, you're smart. Anyway, so he comes over to see what's going on. He discovers us. We're on the ground, but we're fine. It's like, what the fuck, dude? And then I think Sogrith is like, oh, you're that monster. You're the monster everyone was talking about. Probably intuiting that he's some kind of bad guy. He's like, no, the monster he's over there. Then he says, I guess it's sort of my fault that it got loose. Sorry. I kind of broke a magic mirror that was sealing it in. My bad. He's like, it's a weirdly chill conversation, but it's also like we're at odds with him. It's acting like he's some sort of villain. Anyway, so we draw our weapons and he's about to fight us, but then he sees Ty's sword glow and he's like, oh, it's you. Go on ahead. Good luck with the monster. Like,
peace out.
Suck a dick, dumb shits. Just bye.
That's definitely what they said in the game.
And then he says that you just go and we'll see if the quote voice from below calls you as it did me. Goodness. So what's y'all's read of this whole scene?
So I think that his hag lady is our frog lady, and she had called him to Vision, and he was like, suck a dick, dumb shits. And she was like, well, fuck. And then called out to Ty. But the reason he said suck a dick, dumb shits is there's some other more Satan-y voice that is tempting him to the dark side. That's what I feel.
Yeah, that sounds pretty reasonable. See, I was confused by the scene because I obviously got the same vibe as you. Like, it's obviously another traveler situation. But I forgot about us having a voice in our heads. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking that, like, the woman maybe was a traveler and he was like her because she said, don't you want to see your dream? But then I was like, well, why would she say, don't you want to see your wish fulfilled? Right. Mm-hmm. But you're right. That's probably the relationship that we have here. Yeah. Some kind of intrigue. Mm-hmm. I find it very interesting. So yeah, we run past and yeah, we get to the monster. It fucked up the Highlander party. This is the first time we've actually seen like dead bodies in this game. Mm-hmm. I said earlier that the crab killed a bunch of people, but actually no. The only person who was in danger was Sogrith and the son, and neither of them died. So it's all been pretty lighthearted. But at this point, no. It turns out this monster killed a bunch of people. So it's a dragon thingy with 5 heads. Mm-hmm. It's cool. The boss music plays. It may or may not be the same boss music as before. I don't know. There was only 2 boss musics, and they were an hour apart, so I forgot if they were the same song or not. when we defeat it, we hear an eerie voice. It's the battle's easy. When we defeat it,
speak for yourself. You didn't play it.
Oh yeah, that's right. I actually didn't play it. I forgot that I didn't play it. I had some technical difficulties this week, so I had to watch the last, literally just basically the last cutscene and this part. Okay, never mind. It wasn't easy. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm excited to play it.
Yeah, my memorable moments here in a bit are going to be all about the difficulty ramp of this game. But
nice. Well, the person playing on the long play didn't have any trouble with it, but maybe they were cheating. So we defeat it, and then we hear an eerie voice from the shattered Missor, is what I wrote in my notes. Just for the sake of clarity, I will say that it's a mirror. It says, it's like all dark and glowy. It's clearly evil. It's like purple, black smoke. You know, the way that things look when they're evil. It says, quote, another one? Whatever that means. Everyone else is dead, but Kite is hanging on by a thread. He says anyone who could defeat that monster obviously doesn't need any further testing. It's a little funny, it's like you can't die. You need to give us. We need to do our tests so that we can become Highlanders. It's like, girl, people's lives have value for reasons besides what they offer you specifically. Whatever. But the funny thing is he's on the same page, because he's like, oh, I'm about to die. The last thing I'm going to say is making sure to give you the ceremonial swearing in of you as Highlanders, which no one's there there's no witness, but whatever. So he swears us in. He says, you're Highlanders now. I gotta say, at this point, his swearing in seems to me to tip the scales to like, no, the Highlanders just are good guys. The weird vibes we got from them before was either just weird writing or us reading too much into it. Like, they're just good guys. Because the swearing in is very much like, do you promise to... I forget what it was. I didn't write it down, but it was a lot of stuff about like honor and always doing the right thing, and not in a way that seemed like ironic, like in a very straight up way. So I think these guys are probably good guys. If they end up being bad in some way, it'll probably be like, oh, one of them is corrupt or something. Maybe Father Diamond, because he says father in front of his name, so he's probably a priest or something. So anyway, he swears us in. He gives us these like rings that prove that we are that we're Highlanders. Again, there's no witnesses, so we definitely could have just murdered him and taken the rings, but whatever. So we return to the branch to report. Oh, and then he dies. So we return back to the town, to the branch, to report, and Father Diamond implores us. He's like, great, you're Highlanders now. Please hurry on to Valhalla. While you do that, I'm going to take a procession to lead a big prayer at the hospital for Chief Kite's soul, which I liked. Again, the church is giving no, like, we're bad actually vibes. It just seems very normal to me, which is kind of subversive, actually. So on the way out, we have one last scene. Basically it's like, man, I thought being an adventurer and traveling with a traveler would be all about like seeing sights and like growing as a human being and the power of friendship. But man, I did not realize that it was going to have so much like people dying and being sad and shit. This sucks. And Sargrith is like, are you going to quit? Well, are you going to cry? Piss your pants a little, maybe? You're gonna shit and come? And she's like, well, no, I'm not gonna quit. And he's like, okay, well then, like, deal with it. It's actually, he says it nicer than that. I really liked it. He's like, you can quit if you want. She's like, I'm not gonna quit. He's like, okay, let's go. It's good. And that's it for the week. Real short, nice. 2 little adventures. Just some people were in trouble. We went and helped them. Some people died. We learned 50 more commands were added to our main menu. Each one is a different mechanic we got to fucking deal with now. Yeah, that's it. Nice. So let's listen to that music from Sakawa, because that music was super good. And then we can do our mim-mums.
Or something that sounds like maybe it came from Sakawa.
Yeah, some song that seems like it may or may not be that song. Good idea.
All right. So my min moms. So I have one that's an actual funny bit, and I'll let you guys, because you might have it, because I liked it. But the difficulty curve this week. So everything inside of the forest from last week and everything inside of the cave from this week and on the overworld deals 1 damage to Tatsuya. Just 1. And if they have a special move that like hits 5 times, it does 5 because each hit is 1 hit. Then I get into the hospital and things hit harder, but they don't hit harder like now they're hitting 4 or 5. They're hitting harder like 36. A critical is easily 61 and will just tank the shit out of me. And it fucking sucks. And so I died a whole lot. Like KO'd a whole lot. I didn't game over during the dungeon, but I get to the final boss, and on his first turn, because Tatsuya and Sagrath, their joint attack is a buff where it buffs up their defense, but it's just the 2 of them. It's not a full party buff, so they get high defense, and Yuno's just sitting there hanging out. And so the boss on its first turn comes over, does the attack where each of its heads hits 1 time, each hit doing 20 damage. And so it dealt 100 damage to my poor little 45 HP Yuno, and she died right off the gate, which sucks because she's the healer. So then I almost won that one. I got it down to its knees, but I ran out of healing items on Sagrath. He was the last to go down. The second time I did it and nobody had KO'd, but I just I did grind for a little bit because Tatsuya had like 100 HP before, or XP before he leveled up, so I grinded a little bit to get him to the next chunk. And then I just hit as hard as I could while everybody was healed up, and then healed as much as I could while still keeping the pressure on. And it was real hard, but real good. But I'm sure
I didn't have too much trouble with that fight, except the fact that like right toward the end of it, the boss kept targeting Yuno, and it was fine up until near the end when it suddenly did all her health and damage. And she died, but I only had like 2 more hits to get in on it.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any, are there revive items? Because I haven't found any.
There are sleeping bags that you can use from the field menu, and there are like cottages that you can use from the world map.
Right, but nothing in battle
that I've seen so far.
Oh shit, there's no like Phoenix Downs in battle?
Not yet.
Also, not yet,
that's
no.
Sick. It doesn't have to, so it doesn't matter, but that's sick.
I noticed the campsites or whatever they're called they do the full health regen. They cost the same as the fucking sleeping bags that do half health regen. Yeah. What is the point of that?
The sleeping bags you can do from the like inside of a dungeon. The campsites you have to do from the world map.
I thought both of them were on the world map. I was curious about that
last week too. Yeah,
they both use the word field. But one means field in JRPG terms, which just means not in battle, and the other one means Hyrule field for the world map.
A little translation error there. Maybe two different people localized those lines and didn't realize that. Yeah, that's funny.
But my other funny line is I didn't do it because I was afraid, because it was an emotional moment. But at the end, he's like, I'm dying. I only have this is something important I have to tell you, and I only have the strength to tell you once. And then he knights you as Highlanders, and he's like, if you agree, say I do. And it pops up where you can say I do, or I'm sorry, what'd you say? Can you repeat that?
Yeah, that's what I chose.
Oh, what happens?
He says, so you agree then? And I was just like, that's not what I said. He was like, do you swear to this? And I said, could you repeat the question? He's just like, oh, you swear then? And I was like, no, but okay. But thou absolutely must.
He's like, bitch, but thou must. I'm gonna die in 5 seconds. Don't fuck with me.
Like, I'm playing this game real sassy.
I will haunt your bitch ass. You better say yes.
It like didn't even give me an option afterwards. It just like, he's just like, all right, you said yes, we're moving on.
Although, yeah, I do love the character because, like we said, in the game's opening cutscene, the Ty is a little bit of a dick. So, like, playing him as an asshole is sort of in character and kind of fun. So, yeah, but not as an asshole. Just like he's a kid. Like Sam, you were saying earlier that the game doesn't really treat him like kids. The game just treats them like JRPG kids. I disagree. I think they're very much treated like.
I was just talking about the trope. This game, they definitely treats them like kids.
Oh, you're just doing a funny joke. Yeah. It's like, it is true that, like, these are children. Which is actually one of my memorable moments was, I thought it was cool that Sagrath joins the party. Because it felt like, if the first few party members were kids, like, oh, all the kids are going on an adventure. Mm-hmm. So, like, you'd think that, like, Minos would join the party. But no, it's Sagrath. His dad is the one who joins the party. And also, he just, like, leaves his kid. He's like, hey, priest, you take care of the kid until I get back. And it's like, all right. But... what was I was going to say something about what y'all were saying. What were we even talking about? Who even fucking knows? Oh, right. So the kid's being an asshole.
Who are you people? What year is it?
I love the idea of this, like, 9-year-old, hasn't really learned things about the world yet. It's like someone's dying in front of him and sharing their deep last words, and he's just like, wait, I'm sorry. I was
not paying attention.
I was thinking about boats. Like, sorry, dude.
I was thinking about all those goldfinches. I was
thinking about dinosaur-shaped chicken nuggets, which I haven't had since I got here, and I really wish I could have some of those. I was thinking about McDonald's. What was that?
So
you're dying. Kids suck.
They do.
You got any more, Sam?
No, those are the only ones I remember.
Nice. I just have a couple. First of all, in this game, whenever you can fight a lot of people with your birds, and it's kind of like Triple Triad, in fucking Final Fantasy VIII, where you just click on someone and then you're like, hey, you want to play cards? In this game, it's not every single NPC or anything, but in this game, if you click on any NPC that is like a member of whatever it's called. Snob, that's the whole joke. I should be able to remember that. You can ask them to fight, but the way you ask someone to fight in this game is you go, bring on the birds. And if you say that, they have to fight you with their birds. It's really good. Anyway,
that's my Pokemon trainer fighting phrase.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of bringing on the birds, I took a look at Kima's equipment when he was in my party as a guest. Even though he's in your party as a guest, it's funny. Usually guest means, like, you don't get to control them and they just sit there and do things. In this game, it means he is totally in your party. He even, I think, like, learns moves. The only difference is he leaves soon after and you don't get to change his equipment. That's it. Other than that, he's a full-fledged party member. You get to control him, and again, he even learns new moves during the time that you have him, and before he's replaced by, as Sam said, someone who is good, but not nearly as good. Anyway, I went to his equipment, and his equipment is an axe called Key's Axe. I like the idea that the axe is named after him. It's cute. It's like, this is my axe, His armor is an iron saucepan, which I guess he's wearing as a helmet. And then the only other thing he has is, as an accessory, is he's wearing a Snob Novice badge. So it turns out our boy Kikima is in fact a fan of the birds, though he is just a novice. Also, in case you're curious, the Snob Novice badge description is Mark of the Rookie Brawler, BP rate up. So hey,
hell yeah.
I want one. I want one of those myself. In addition to that, I didn't actually talk about all this but when you explore the town of Lysanderoth, it's a really good town. This game has great towns. This town is divided into uptown and downtown, like the rich area and the poor area. Uptown is humorously south, which I know that's not what up and downtown means. It's just funny that you literally go down on the screen to get to uptown. What's cool is that they're really separate. They're literally separate towns, but uptown and downtown both have their own inns, their own armor shops, their own item shops, which is neat. I really like that little detail. And they have different stuff in them. There's a lot of NPCs, a lot of plot stuff. It's whatever. I didn't really write most of it down, but you do meet this guy named Mr. Fanlon, and you get a big quest. Yet another system this game has. He's basically like, I'm an accessory crafter. I craft accessories. I'm the best accessory crafter in the land. But basically,
he crafts
like,
accessories and accessories.
Exactly.
Accessory.
He is accessory to accessories. But at any rate, he apparently he's like, everyone loves his one line of accessories so much that it's all he ever gets to make now. It's like every time he does this show, they just want him to play, they just want him to play creep. And he actually is sick of it. And he hates making accessories now, which sucks because he loves making accessories. So he asked us to get his groove back. Or to help him get his groove back. So we need to bring him rare materials. I didn't have any rare materials. And when he said that, I was like, dude, I'm going to use rare materials for my accessories that I'm making. But the thing is, it's not like all the shit I'm collecting to make my own accessories. It's not that shit. It's like special shit. Mm-hmm. Because when I talk to him, he's like, oh, you don't have anything. So this is probably going to be a game-long side quest. Bring him extremely rare special shit, and he gives you things. You know how it is. In addition, tiny bit of lore. Apparently the Ankha were the, quote, first race to be created by the goddess, which gave me extreme Legend of Dragoon vibes, mm-hmm. Right? I'm wondering how deep the lore will go. Also, we learned that in addition to the Highlanders, there's also a group called the Knights of Stengel. We don't know anything about them. We just know it's also a group of people who protect people and are probably good, strong-hearted warriors or whatever. That's all I got. Eli, you said you had a couple. What you got?
So when you're talking to Kite the first time, first of all, I thought his name was Kyle initially, but
I think I did write Kyle a couple times in the notes. So sorry if I mixed that up. It isn't.
Yeah, it's
Kite.
Kyte.
There it is.
But that T looks like an L.
Not Kite. That's a different game.
Yeah, that's the game we just finished.
Yeah.
So Kyle calls Yuno a muffin, and she says, "Just wait, jerk. This muffin's gonna bake you," which is great. Mm-hmm. And I liked the 2 kids and 1 babysitter line that Kite says later on. I also just really, really liked the seaside cave, like mm-hmm. all of it. The aesthetic was really pretty. Yeah, I loved the dripping water effects. It was really gorgeously animated, and the music is like, yes. I think that's my favorite song so far. It's so good.
Mm-hmm. The game's graphics and music just do not stop banging. Yeah, just constantly.
My only problem with the graphics is that it's got this weird kind of soft glowy effect to them that hurts my eyes after a while. I don't like when games do that.
Do you have scan lines turned on your Vita, by the way?
No,
you can
I
turn
don't
on
like
scan lines?
Yeah. I fucking hate scan lines.
Okay.
Well, I'm doing that literally right now.
The scan lines help with that. So it might be worth it to turn it on, because the Vita is like exactly double the resolution of the PSP. The scan lines work really well, and you don't really notice. So you might turn them on, see if you hate it. I barely notice that they're on in this game, but that it does help with the glowy thing. But it's an
I'll try it. But yeah, I'm so picky about that sort of thing.
No, for sure. But I just thought I would offer. But I did remember one more. So Xseed got famous because it did it did localizations as good as Working Designs did, but without all of Working Designs' like memes and stuff. So it was very weird that in this Xseed localized game there was a Sixth Sense reference. So when Traveler Ray comes out, he's like, I was just talking to the old hag, and now I see dead people. And I'm like, what the fuck? I wasn't expecting it at all, because like in Lunar, it was every goddamn text box was some reference. And here it's like, I think this is like the first reference to a meme of any sort I've seen in an Xseed game.
It was such a subtle reference. I almost wondered if it even was a reference, or if it was just like a line that the writer thought was funny, because it is a little bit funny when you think of it as a literal line and not a dumb reference. But who knows?
Who knows? But any more before we wrap up, Eli?
No, I'm good.
Awesome.
Hey, what's the best? There's a lot of filter options here, and which one do you think I should go with, Sam? Which one's the best one?
I believe it's called bilinear, and because the other one's called bilinear without scan lines.
Gotcha. Yeah, because the regular bilinear one was great. I just thought, should I try the other ones as well?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me take a look. Oh yeah, that looks good. Cool, awesome. Thank you, Sam.
You're welcome. But yeah, if you like what you hear, you can support us online at www.rpgbook.club, where we were featured by Ko-Fi in their book that they released today, which was really kind of cool. Yeah, they put out an ebook about like different ways you can use Ko-Fi to like expand your brand or whatever, and our listener polls they thought was a great idea, and they have a whole page dedicated to us doing listener polls.
That's so cool.
So it's apparently a really good idea. So more of you should fucking vote. This game was decided by 5 votes. So come on over. Like we have like 15 subscribers, so we should have 15 votes. So your vote counts.
Come on, y'all. Our turnout's so low. What is this, America?
Just
right.
Just pick a winner. Like you don't have to know the games. Just pick whatever one looks cooler.
Yeah.
Looks worse.
Or whichever one looks worse.
Yeah. I work really hard on making the games like on an even footing, so you can literally flip a coin and it'll be fine. So you don't have to worry about picking the wrong choice. They are both great choices. But also while you're there on our website, you can order merch that we have up. I got my shirt in from the proof that they sent me, and it's awesome having my face and you guys' faces on my chest, and big recommend. The cool thing that we have there is we have embroidered beanies, which is really dope, that have our logo from year 2, the Persona looking one has that on it because it embroiders the best, and
it's dope as hell.
So go and check those out. If you and because it's all integrated through the Ko-Fi, if you make a purchase for a shirt or whatever, it counts as being a subscriber, so you get access to all the polls and the extra bullshit. And also, if you go and subscribe, you will, in about 4 days after you hear this, you will have access to the first episode of our subscriber only series on the Legend of Heroes Trail series. So it is the longest of long casts. We joked before when we were thinking of long games to play, and we were like, oh, that one would be great, but literally we would be stuck on that for 5 years. So here we are for the next 5 years. We are going to unravel all of the stuff that is the Kiseki series. So come and hang out. It is going to be me, friend of the show Bernard, and our lovely son Matt Jorgensen, who
how many episodes has Matt been in? Just like one, right?
Yeah, he was in one episode, and his audio broke while he was trying to connect, so all we got from him was like a hey guys, what's up? Wait, shit,
I remember that
fuck.
now.
And then it was like,
I remember that now. So
for like a minute.
So we mentioned Matt like all the time on the pod, because he's one of our like most active like listeners and stuff like that. So yeah, you finally get to spend some time with Matt on this new series.
Hell yeah, and it'll be awesome. I'm very looking forward to it. I only recently beat this first game, and it's weird because I'm now taking notes, and so not only am I replaying it, I also have to replay it in detail. And that's the first time I've done that in a very long time, but it'll be fun. And come and check those out. They will be Ko-Fi specific, so you can buy a shirt, have my face on your chest while you listen to us talk about Estelle and Josh.
More importantly, my face.
Yes. But other than that, I think we're done here. So for RPG Book Club, I have been Allman.
God, Ta! I guess I'm Warren then.
Okay, so that's a funny bit, and I approve of the funny bit, but we do need to do the thing we always forget to do, which is tell people what we're playing next week.
We're
Guess
playing
what?
2 more
It's really
chapters.
simple this time around. Yes, we are simply playing chapters 5 and chapter 6. Look at that. We don't have to scramble to find out where the fuck we're ending and then change our minds halfway through the week.
That
Play
helps.
chapter 5 and chapter 6. See you next week. I'm Webbin.
Toodaloo!
Bye, guys.
Bring on the birds.